Hey, folks, today is Tuesday, February 3rd, 2026, coming up on the Breakdown with Brittany Noble. Guess what? A federal judge has blocked the Department of Homeland Security scheme to kick more than 300,000 Haitians out of the country. We'll tell you why the motion was denied. Also, a Tuskegee basketball coach humiliated after he was arrested at the end of a game against Morehouse. We'll talk with his lawyer. Also, speaking of the Department of Homeland Security, Democrats say it's time for Kristi Noem to go. Lastly, Donald Trump says that Republicans should take over the voting apparatus in 15 Democratic states. I wonder why he's saying that now ahead of the 2026 election. Folks, it is time to bring the funk on the Breakdown with Brittany Noble on the Black Star Network. Let's go. All right, folks, welcome to today's show. I'm Roland Martin, filling in for Brittany Noble. Lots to get to. Let's talk about this first story. It deals with Department of Homeland Security Secretary Ice Barbie Kristi Noem. The chairs the Congressional Tri-Caucus, which includes the Congressional Black Caucus, Hispanic, are rallying outside ICE headquarters in D.C. today. The members are calling for the firing of Kristi Noem. They say it is the ongoing ICE abuses and violation of due process or simply out of control. Members are holding the agency accountable also for the murders of Renee Good and Alex Pretty. This has been going on for quite some time. In fact, you have some members who have said that that frankly she needs to be impeached. The pressure has been on her. Of course, after the killing of Alex Pretty, Kristi Noem actually came out and said that that her responses to his death, her responses, she said that that was really about it was really about what she was getting from Stephen Miller and Donald Trump. And so there's been lots of pressure. One of the folks who was speaking at today's rally was Georgia Congresswoman Lucy McBath. She, of course, was speaking out at the podium. I'm going to play for you several bites from that. But let's hear from Lucy McBath.
No audio.
All right, folks. Not sure why we're not getting any audio. We'll try to work on that. Not sure why we're getting any audio. So I'm seeing audio, but not sure why it's not coming across to you. And so again, these members were talking about Fire Noem, saying that it's important to protect our communities, and that's why that rally was taking place today. So what we're going to do is we're going to queue up some more video. Hopefully, we can get the audio to properly play because we do want you to hear what they had to say at the rally. And so let me do this here. I'm going to go to a quick break. We're going to get the audio fixed, and I'll be right back on the breakdown with Brittany Noble.
Hey y'all, welcome to The Other Side of Change, only on the Black Star Network and hosted by myself, Rhea Baker, and my good sis, Jamira Burley. We are just two millennial women tackling everything at the intersection of politics, gender, and pop culture.
And we don't just settle for commentary. This is about solution-driven dialogue to get us to the world as it could be and not just as it is.
Watch us on the Black Star Network, so tune in to The Other Side of Change.
Violent white supremacy is, quote, the most persistent and lethal threat in the homeland.
The greatest terrorist threat to the homeland is the homegrown violence stream, including hate crime committed on behalf of some kind of white supremacist ideology.
They are coming after everything in Black America. MAGA and Donald Trump are specifically targeting Black America. They are going after the money. Attack Black Lives Matter. Attack critical race theory. Attack woke, DEI. MAGA wants to defund Black America. This is a perfect example of their desire to completely degrade and de-emphasize Black people.
Hi, I'm Swing Cash, Basketball Hall of Famer, and you're watching Black Star Network.
All right, folks, so we got that all sorted out. So this rally took place a couple of hours ago. A number of members spoke. We first, Lucy McBath, Congresswoman Lucy McBath, Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, she also spoke. And so there are several members, also Stephen Horsford, Joyce Beatty also spoke. And so we're looking at all the folks who spoke. So let's do this here. Let's first hear from Congresswoman Lucy McBath, and then we'll hear from Congresswoman Ilhan Omar.
Thank you all for joining us here. It's imperative that we be here. I'm Congresswoman Lucy McBath, second vice chair of the Congressional Black Caucus and proud representative of Georgia's 6th Congressional District. I want to thank the leaders of our caucuses today that you have around us. Congressman Adriano Espaillat, Congresswoman Grace Meng, Congresswoman Teresa Ledger Fernandez, Congressman Brad Schneider, Congressman Greg Casar, and all of my Democratic colleagues for their presence here today. Like so many Americans, we are outraged by what we continue to see in our American cities on our streets daily. ICE is operating without guardrails. We have seen violence, chaos, and lawlessness in Minnesota, in my state of Georgia, and in communities across America. It cannot stand. We have watched our neighbors terrorized and brutalized. And we have seen innocent Americans killed in cold blood by masked ICE agents who believe that they are above the law. Agents funded by American taxpayer dollars, yet apparently they are accountable to no one. Let's be clear. The presence of ICE in our communities is not about public safety. This is about stoking fear, silencing peaceful dissent, and turning Americans against one another. This is a direct attack on civil rights and due process to target communities of color, instilling fear in Black, Latino, Asian, and immigrant communities, and anyone who dares to speak out against the Trump administration. Kristi Noem has refused to provide Congress or the American people with the transparency and the justice that we and the families of those murdered by masked agents deserve and demand. This depravity starts at the top, and she must be held accountable. She must resign or face impeachment. Let's go! The Congressional Black Caucus and House Democrats will not back down. We are not backing down, and we will continue standing with our communities because they deserve that and so much more. And to our neighbors who have chosen to protest peacefully, stay strong, stay peaceful, and rise above the chaos. The right to protest, to speak out against injustice is fundamental to our democracy. It's protected by our Constitution. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for standing up. And now it is my privilege to introduce to you and welcome Representative Teresa Ledger Fernandez.
All right, folks. So we're going to, all right, folks, we're going to do this here. We're going to cue it up and then hear from Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, who represents Minneapolis. That has been the epicenter of all of these protests that have been taking place across the country. Really, I mean, federal law enforcement officials, including ICE, Border Patrol, Trump has been sending them into numerous cities: Chicago, Portland, Memphis, New Orleans is on the docket. But Minneapolis really has been the main place where we've seen sort of the pushback. Also, some 3,000 federal law enforcement officers have been sent into Minneapolis, which outnumbers even the Minneapolis and St. Paul Police Department. And so that's one of the reasons why you're seeing this again in the last couple of months. You've seen the shooting death of Renee Good. You've seen the shooting death of Alex Preddy, and that has raised significant tension. You've had Minnesota Governor Tim Walz saying it's time for ICE to go. Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Fry saying it's time for ICE to go. And so it has been lots and lots and lots of tension in there in Minneapolis. Here is their Congresswoman Ilhan Omar.
Good morning, everyone. It is an honor to be here with you all. I represent Minneapolis, which is currently under occupation. We do not exaggerate when we say we have schools where 2/3 of the students are afraid to go to school. We do not exaggerate when we say we have people who are afraid to go to the hospital because our hospitals have occupying paramilitary forces. We do not exaggerate when we say our restaurants are shutting down because there are not enough people to drive the employees to work and from work. We do not exaggerate when I say we have people who are housing other people because they are afraid to go home.
That's right.
And that is all happening in an American city.
Mm-hmm.
We have two neighbors, two of my constituents, who were shot by federal agents as cameras recorded. And their president maligned their name and told us not to believe our eyes.
Shame.
When we say it is time for Kristi Noem to go, we mean it now.
Let's go. Let's go.
When we say there needs to be accountability for the architect of the terror we are facing in Minneapolis and so many other cities, which is Stephen Miller, we mean we need accountability for him now.
Let's go.
So thank you all for being here. Thank you for joining the call to get ICE out of our cities, for us to dismantle this department that is not just rogue, but unlawful. And yes, obviously, if Kristi Noem does not resign and the president doesn't fire her, Democrats are ready and willing to impeach her.
Yeah. Let's go. Yeah. Let's go.
So, I now call.
So again, you see right here, you get the sense of the tensions there, and so again, a number of Democrats actually spoke at that particular rally. If you want to see the full live stream, all you got to do is simply go to our Black Star Network channel, or you can go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Roland S. Martin. Click live, and you'll actually see the a little more than an hour, about a 1 hour and 1 minute news conference that we live streamed that took place again at 10 a.m. Eastern this morning. All right, let's talk about what's happening with Elon Musk's ex in Paris. Prosecutors have summoned him after authorities raided the ex offices in France. Prosecutors say the questioning is part of an investigation into potential criminal offenses, including complicity in the possession and distribution of child pornography images, the sexual deepfakes and AI-based human image synthesis technique, and fraudulent extraction of data from an automated processing system. The search was carried out by prosecutors and French police cybercrime unit. Former ex-CEO Linda Yaccarino is also wanted for questioning about the platform's adherence to French law. All right, folks, let's talk about this huge story. Today was the day where the temporary protected status of Haitians expired. It expired at midnight, and deportations would have started. In fact, one of the things that also started is that Trump had moved in ICE agents into Ohio today, the exact same time that was, of course, expiring. And the idea was that they were going to begin to target and deport Haitians. Well, a federal judge has halted the Department of Homeland Security's plan to end deportation protections for 350,000 Haitians. Of course, that plan was put in motion when Kristi Noem ruled that it was indeed a time for that to end. It was announced ahead of the program's termination. Again, today, February 3rd, was the deadline to ban. This bans the government from invalidating Haitians' legal status and work permits of active enrollees by arresting and deporting them. This U.S. District Judge Anna Reyes issued the ruling, and this is exactly what she said in that particular ruling. She said, quote, this is the conclusion, there's an old adage among lawyers: if you have the facts on your side, pound the facts. If you have the law on your side, pound the law. You have neither, pound the table. Secretary Noem, the record to date shows, does not have the facts on her side, or at least has ignored them. Does not have the law on her side, or at least has ignored it. Having neither and bringing the adage into the 21st century, she pounds X, also known as Twitter. Kristi Noem has a First Amendment right to call immigrants killers, leeches, entitlement junkies, and any other inapt name she wants. Secretary Noem, however, is constrained by both our Constitution and the APA to apply faithfully the facts to the law in implementing the TPS program. The record to date shows she has yet to do that. By accompanying order, the court grants plaintiffs renewed motion for a stay, and it is signed Anna C. Reyes, United States District Judge. I have seen a lot of rulings from federal judges, but man, that is one that is deeply personal and targeted to Kristi Noem. And it is, it truly is an amazing order. She laid out that the Administrative Procedures Act does not take into consideration the overwhelming evidence of present danger in Haiti. And that was the reason for her particular ruling. We'll have more of this tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Let's talk about happening in Maryland, where Democrats are moving forward with changing their congressional maps. Now, remember, all of this started in Texas when Donald Trump demanded that Texas find him 5 new seats. Well, they changed their maps there. That set off a massive race across the country. California, Kansas, Missouri, Ohio. I mean, we can go on and on and on. Well, Maryland, the Maryland House has passed a new congressional map. The proposed map could allow Democrats to pick up an additional seat in this year's midterm elections. Again, the move was pushed by Governor Wes Moore and national Democrats, yet the state's top Democratic senator, Senate President Bill Ferguson, has opposed those efforts. He says there isn't enough support in the Democratic-led Senate for the map, which has been designed to allow the party to control all 8 of the state's congressional districts rather than 7. Now, keep in mind, this exact same thing happened in Indiana. The Indiana House, under intense pressure from Donald Trump, from J.D. Vance and others, what they did was they put massive pressure. The Indiana House approved the map, yet it failed in the Indiana Senate, so therefore it did not go through. Now, keep in mind, Maryland also has the largest Black caucus of any state in the country. Here you have Democrats that control the House, Democrats control the Senate, and the Democrats control the governor's mansion. The question is, will Governor Wes Moore, this is going to be a test of his power, will he have the ability to persuade Democrats who are frankly unsure to actually vote for this measure? We'll be checking to see if that happens. Also, folks, the partial government shutdown could very well end soon. The House rule easily advanced the funding package in a party line vote late Monday. If the full House passes the funding package and Donald Trump signs it into law, the shutdown will end. It's a 5-bill package to fund the Departments of Defense, State Treasury, as well as a 2-week extension of funding for the Department of Homeland Security, allowing for no more negotiation. Of course, the DHS funding has been the center of the impasse, with the Democrats demanding reforms to how ICE operates. All right, folks, going to go take a break. We come back, we're going to talk with the attorney for the Tuskegee head basketball coach. This was the craziest thing you've ever seen. End of the game with Morehouse, he gets arrested. Literally, handcuffs put on him. We'll show you the video and talk with his attorney, Harry Daniels, right here on the Breakdown with Brittany Noble. I'm Roland Martin filling in for her. We'll be right back. Don't forget also...
They said the quiet part out loud. Black votes are a threat, so they erased them. After the Supreme Court gutted the Voting Rights Act in 2013, Republican legislatures moved fast. New voter ID laws, polling place shutdowns, purges of black voters from the rolls. Trump's Justice Department didn't stop it, they joined in. In 2018, his DOJ backed Ohio's voter purge system, a scheme that disproportionately erased black voters. Their goal, erase black votes and political power. Yeah, that happened. These are the kinds of stories that we cover every day on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Subscribe on YouTube and download the Black Star Network app. Support fact-based independent journalism that centers African Americans and the issues that matter to our community.
If in this country right now, you have people get up in the morning and the only thing they can think about is how many people they can hurt, and they got the power, that's the time for mourning.
For better or worse, what makes America special, it's that legal system that's supposed to protect minorities from the tyranny of the majority.
We are at a point of a moral emergency. We must raise a voice of outrage We must raise a voice of compassion, and we must raise a voice of unity.
We are not in a crisis of party versus party. We are in a crisis of civilization, a human rights crisis, and a crisis of democracy itself. And guess what? You've been chosen to make sure that those that would destroy, those that would hate, don't have the final say, and they don't ultimately win.
What's happening? This is your man, Motown recording artist Kim. You are watching the Black Star Network.
All right, folks. I saw this story over the weekend, and I couldn't believe it. I really could not believe it when I first saw it. And so here's the deal: Morehouse and Tuskegee were actually playing a game, basketball game. All of a sudden, the game was over, and the teams, as they do, they begin to shake hands. Well, the Tuskegee head coach begins to object. Because some Morehouse football players were in the line. So he then begins to object. That leads to him being arrested. Seriously, watch this video. Y'all, that actually happened. I think we got another video from another angle. Let me know if you have that ready. I mean, like this was literally crazy. And so you see right there the Tuskegee coach. He is talking to the officer, and saying, "Hey, you know." And all of a sudden, these guys are there. Now he later said, "Wait a minute, he wasn't being mean-spirited. He wasn't being nasty. He was simply objecting to what he saw." Well, the officer didn't care and went ahead and arrested him. Attorney Harry Daniels has been hired by the coach. Harry Jones is right now. Harry, I've never seen this before. I've never seen this before, where a basketball coach who is simply saying, "Hey, what's going on here?" Then he gets arrested. So Benji Taylor has hired you. Walk us through what the heck is going on.
Thanks, Roland. I've never seen it before because it never happened before. Coach Taylor, like you described before, the football players were along the baseline under the goal, and they were heckling the players on the bench, equipment managers, and so on. And the rule in the conference says that fans cannot be on the floor. I mean, obviously, I know the football players are student athletes, but we're not at a football game. We're at a basketball game. You know, he complained about it throughout the game. At some point, an officer went down and stood with the football players, but they continued to act in the same way before. It seemed like the officer was actually laughing along with them. Then after the game, during the ceremonial, handshake, when the players come to shake hands at the end of the game, the football players decided to join the basketball players, like, "Hey, we're gonna do what we want to do." And the coach, who is on the committee of the rules, he's the head of the conference basketball, men's basketball. He's the chair. He complained about the security and safety that the police officer or the security staff there failed to adhere to. And once he had a conversation and disagreement, one of the officers asked him who was he talking to, and the coach said, "I'm talking to you." And the officer put him in handcuffs, arrested him in front of his players, family, friends, and sent him through a perp walk in front of the gymnasium full of people, 1,000 people. This is the most ridiculous thing. That we have a lot of cases We deal with a lot of cases dealing with police misconduct, but you have a coach, a mentor, a person that we have entrusted our students to, student athletes, who's fighting for safety in handcuffs is ridiculous.
Okay, so the game took place at Morehouse, right?
Yeah, Morehouse College.
Okay, so this officer, was he Atlanta Police Department? Was he Morehouse Police? Was he a hired security guard? Who is he?
It's early on in the investigation. We have not been able to establish his employer. We do know that we see in the video, we see Morehouse badges on some of the officers, but we have not been able to actually identify his employee. But nevertheless, regardless of his employer status, he was acting on behalf of Morehouse, either contract, part-time, or full-time. Nevertheless, his job was to maintain the safety and security of that collegiate event, and he failed to do so. He actually added chaos and confusion. It's a video that's after the fact, rolling, where the coach is trying to get his players in the locker room while he was in handcuffs, begging them, to go to the locker room, and where the football players or a similar student, a body it seemed like they're being aggressive towards parents or other coaching staff. So it was complete lack of control on behalf of these officers. And unfortunately, it binds Morehouse there. I don't believe for 1 second that Morehouse institution as a whole believe or support what happened. But unfortunately, in this situation, you kind of got to wear the shoe.
The Southern Intercollegiate Athletic Conference released this statement. They said, following a comprehensive review of all available video, reports, and on-site observations, SIAC Commissioner Anthony Holloman has concluded his investigation into the unfortunate incident that involved Tuskegee University head men's basketball coach Benji Taylor and a member of the Morehouse College security staff at the conclusion of the men's basketball game this past Saturday. In accordance with SIAC policy, the conference determined that Morehouse College did not satisfy the required security standards for a host institution, specifically as it relates to crowd control and ensuring the safe entry and exit of visiting teams and game participants. As a result, the SIAC has imposed a fine on Morehouse College of an undisclosed amount and will require corrective measures to ensure full compliance with conference security policies moving forward. The SIAC holds its member institutions to the highest standards of sportsmanship, professionalism, and institutional accountability, said Holloman. Our historic institutions are expected to provide competitive environments that prioritize the safety, dignity, and mutual respect of student athletes, coaches, officials, and fans. The conference remains committed to upholding these expectations and to ensuring that all SIAC contests are conducted in a manner consistent with our shared values. Now, that's from the conference right there, Harry. And so what's the next steps for you? And it's not, first of all, let's just be clear. It's not just you. Benji Taylor has hired you, Gerald Griggs, and Gregory Williams. So what's next?
To piggyback off what the conference put out, Roland, we have to ensure that our colleges, historical Black colleges and universities, are treated with the same dignity and respect, and people who attend those events feel safe and secure. I don't think this would have happened at Cameron Indoor Stadium or any place else, particularly. And I want to make sure that you can't treat a collegiate event as though this is some type of rec league game. You have people there in place to ensure safety, and it was not adhered to. So I want to make sure that this is a message is sent to ensure the safety of students, first and foremost, paramount, student athletes, coaches, fans alike, no matter the venue or setting that you're in. At the end of the day, this is student athletes. It's entertainment. They playing ball, but ultimately it's entertainment, as they matriculate themselves through the university and school to get an education. But we need to ensure safety. And our stance is simple. We want to make sure that Morehouse, take a position, and all institutions take a position, and take this as a learned moment, and make sure it doesn't happen again. Obviously, Coach Taylor has some personal damages and issues that he have to deal with, physical, emotionally, psychological, because this never happened before. This could have adverse effect on his career moving forward, because he's forever going to be known as a coach who was arrested on the floor and paraded before his team and a whole gymnasium that never happened before. So we have to deal with that issues. Obviously, hide our services to help resolve that issue. But nevertheless, the overarching thing that we want to get done is make sure that our players, coaches, and our HBCUs are treated fair and equally like anybody else. And that's what we plan on doing.
The officer claimed that Taylor was very aggressive and the aggressor. Well, guys, roll a video. Anybody who watches this video, and I played it back, and I was like, I mean, you can tell the officer had attitude. Guys, roll a video. You can tell the officer had this little attitude, and you see him, you see him pointing, you see the officer. Oh, no, roll it, guys. You relate with the video. Just roll it back, because I need people to see. Okay, now what you're going to see right here, and this was so you see him motioning, and he's pointing out, and all of a sudden you can tell the officer sort of like, wait a minute, hold up, and so you see that. Now, this is the thing, Harry, and listen, we've had you on so many times with many of these police cases, shootings that are taking place. And we say this consistently, that the role of law enforcement, whether you are, guys, you can come back to us, the role of law enforcement, whether you are a police officer, whether you are a deputy sheriff, whether you are campus security, your job is to de-escalate.
Right.
At no time do you see the security officer going, Coach, take it easy, calm down. No, the body language you see is, you talking to me? So we all know, and all of a sudden, boom, his immediate reaction is grab the cuffs. So how I first think is he the only officer in the building? Were there any other officers on the scene? Is he the officer in charge? And so that your first reaction should not be slapping cuffs on. He didn't attack him. He didn't brush up against him, didn't hit him. So putting him in cuffs, that's a whole lot.
Yeah, we talk about this de-escalation a lot, how a lot of these things happen and start, from something as simple as detaining a person as the coach was detained to end up killing a person. The de-escalation tactics was clearly not adhered here. And let me be very clear, even if the coach was upset and using profanity or something, and he was not, he has a First Amendment right protection to do that. That's a First Amendment right protection. And the temperament of these officers have to understand that just because a person says something to you that you don't like, they're not threatening or aggressive in nature, they're threatening your person or anybody else, then you cannot resort to a flexing of ego trip to put them in handcuffs. This could have turned out very bad. His players could have been upset and brought to some type of riot and and disagreement and it could have got real physical. But the physicality, if it would have happened, it spawned from an officer not trained or ill or just have a ego that should not be part of a situation in any environment. I say this, Roland. If he's willing to do this to the head coach of Tuskegee University, I can imagine what he's willing to do to the students at Morehouse College.
Indeed. All right, Harry Daniels, keep us abreast of what happens next in this case.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Roland. Have a good day.
All right, thanks a lot. All right, folks, got to go to break. We come back. Things are getting heated in Texas. Former Congressman Colin Allred, man, he lays down the wood against State Representative James Tallarico for being called allegedly a mediocre black man. I'm going to show you the video and show you Tallarico's response to that. Hey, folks, don't forget to support the work that we do. If you enjoy watching The Breakdown with Brittany Noble and, of course, Roland Martin Unfiltered and all the other shows on the Black Star Network, your support is critically important to our continued success. And so please do us a favor. If you want to support us, support our work, use the Stripe QR code. If you want to use Cash App, you see it right here. Click the Cash App Pay button to contribute. Checks and money order, make it payable to Roland Martin Unfiltered, P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 2003 7-0196. PayPal's R Martin Unfiltered, Venmo's RM Unfiltered, Zelle Roland at RolandSMartin.com, Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. We'll be right back.
With medicine and science under attack, I want to keep you and your family informed and healthy. I'm Dr. Ebony Hilton, and I knew at the age of 8 that I wanted to be a doctor. So I studied hard and became the first African-American female anesthesiologist hired at the Medical University of South Carolina since its opening in 1824. And I always say I was made into a doctor, but I was born to be a mom. And as a new mom, wife, sister, daughter, and friend, I understand how frightening a medical crisis can be. I care for individuals on some of the worst days of their lives, and it's my mission to provide you with a safe space to gain clarity on issues affecting your mind, body, and soul. I recognize that there are health disparities, particularly as it pertains to race, and I want to help bridge the gap between you and your healthcare providers. Join me every Thursday for Second Opinion on the Black Star Network, where each week I'll invite experts from various medical fields to share the latest health news. We'll discuss topics such as the vaccine debate, mental and sexual health, medical bias, infertility, menopause, andropause, nutrition, and aging. Together with my medical colleagues, we aim to provide you with a second opinion. Don't miss it, Thursdays only on the Black Star Network.
If in this country right now, you have people get up in the morning and the only thing they can think about is how many people they can hurt, and they got the power, that's the time for mourning.
For better or worse, what makes America special, it's that legal system that's supposed to protect minorities from the tyranny of the majority.
We are at a point of a moral emergency. We must raise a voice of outrage. We must raise a voice of compassion. And we must raise a voice of unity.
We are not in a crisis of party versus party. We are in a crisis of civilization, a human rights crisis, and a crisis of democracy itself. And guess what? You've been chosen to make sure that those that would destroy, those that would hate, don't have the final say, and they don't ultimately win.
I'm Risa Colbert, and you're watching the Black Star Network.
Folks, we're 1 month away from the primary in Texas to determine who would have a Democratic nomination to represent Democrats in Texas in the U.S. Senate race in November. Race pits Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett against State Representative James Tallarico. And it's been a fairly, mild campaign, them not really attacking one another. Well, now things are getting a little froggy. Someone posted a video on social media saying that in a conversation, Tallarico called former Congressman Colin Allred, who ran for the United States Senate last year. He's called him a mediocre black man. Well, Colin Allred responded to that in this video yesterday.
First of all, let me just give you some free advice, James. If you want to compliment black women, just do it. Just do it. Don't do it while also tearing down a black man. Okay? We've seen that play before. We're
actually, let's do this here. Give me 1 second. Is this the full video? Is this the full video? Because he did a 2 minute and 49. Okay, fine. I'm gonna play it. Let's see. See if we got the audio issues on my end fixed. So let's see if we can play this.
No audio.
All right, I'm not quite sure why you guys can't hear the audio on your end, because everything on my end is showing this. So do this here, y'all. Pull the full video, because it was a 2 minute and 38 second video that Colin Allred dropped. That was man, I was like, I was surprised by it. So all right, so here's what you had. You had you've had a lot of people. You've had a lot of people going back and forth. You had supporters of Crockett and supporters of Tallarico have been duking out on social media. They've been duking out on social media. Okay, guys, I'm hearing music, so can y'all kill that music, please? Guys, do me a favor. I'm hearing, there we go. Okay, sorry. I was hearing some music there. All right, so here's the deal. They've been duking it out because a lot of Tallarico supporters believe that Crockett shouldn't be in. They believe that she is not the best choice. They believe that Tallarico stands the best chance to beat Republicans in the fall. So there are others who have been using some racially charged language in talking about her, and so it's been real back and forth. But this whole thing here has really sort of upended this, and so Allred makes his comment. Then all of a sudden, first of all, the allegation of what Tallarico said, then Colin Allred comes out and makes this statement, and then the campaign of James Tallarico then releases a statement. I'm going to have that for you next, but I want to play the Colin Allred comment first because it was not expected. And so what it did was, of course, it created a whole new news cycle. And there's some people who are like, okay, this is no big deal. This really doesn't matter or anything. But it does, because what you have to understand is the election is going on in a month. They're campaigning right now. And so every day you're not talking about the issues. Every day you're not defining yourself and defining the candidate. Well, then you have a problem. Okay, I think y'all have the full video now. So let's go ahead and play it.
And I got some steam coming off my head because I'm, just finished my workout. Got some steam coming out of my ears too. I understand that James Tallarico had the temerity and the audacity to say to a black woman that he had signed up to run against a mediocre black man, meaning me, not a formidable, intelligent black woman. Ears too. I understand that James Tallarico had the temerity and the audacity to say to a black woman that he had signed up to run against a mediocre black man, meaning me, not a formidable, intelligent black woman, meaning Jasmine Crockett. Let me just break this down into a few segments here. First of all, let me just give you some free advice, James. If you want to compliment black women, just do it. Just do it. Don't do it while also tearing down a black man, okay? We've seen that play before. We're sick and tired of it. We're tired of folks using praise for black women to mask criticism for black men. That's not good for our community. It's not good. It doesn't work, and we know what you're doing. Okay, so if next time you want to praise a black woman, just do that. Leave black men out of it. Just leave a lot of things out of it. Second of all, did you ever have a coach or somebody, a leader in your life tell you that when you make an accusation, you often have a bit of confession in it? Maybe you use the word mediocre because there's something creeping into your mind about yourself. Because I know you're not talking about somebody who's been better at 3 things than you've ever been at 1. You are not saving religion for the Democratic Party or the left. We already had Senator Reverend Dr. Raphael Warnock for that. We don't need you. You're not saying anything unique. You're just saying it looking like you do. Okay? And third of all, let me just say to all the young black men out there, all the young men who come from tough background, struggle growing up, who maybe think that someday you want to put yourself forward as a leader in your community. It's going to have haters like this are going to show up, okay? And you're going to feel like you have to be twice as good and jump twice as high and talk twice as well but you don't have to. You can walk out there with your shoulders back and your head held up high, knowing who you are and the value that you bring, and understanding that this comes with the territory and that there's going to be folks like this. And when we see them, we should say thank you. Thank you for taking off the mask. Thank you for telling us who you really are and what you really think. And goodbye, okay? Because we're on our way and we don't need you to come with us and we don't need your help to get there. So with that being said, go vote for Jasmine Crockett. This man should not be our nominee for the United States Senate. I wasn't gonna get involved in this race, but listen, don't come for me unless I send for you. Okay, James? And keep my name out of your mouth while you're at it.
Okay, then. This was released by the Tallarico campaign. This is the official statement from James Tallarico on Allred video. This is a mischaracterization of a private conversation. In my praise of Congressman Crockett, I described Congressman Allred's method of campaigning as mediocre, but his life and service are not. I would never attack him on the basis of race. As a black man in America, Congressman Allred has had to work twice as hard to get where he is. I understand how my critique of the congressman's campaign could be interpreted given this country's painful legacy of racism, and I care deeply about the impact my words have on others. I've always said that, despite our disagreements, I deeply respect Congressman Allred. We're all on the same team. Woo, it's a whole lot there. All right, y'all. So we'll see what happens next. Again, Election Day in Texas is March 3rd. And whoever wins on March 3rd will represent the Democrats in in November against who wins the Republican primary, with incumbent Senator John Cornyn being challenged by Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton, as well as Congressman Wesley Hunt. Folks, the former mayor of Detroit makes a deal to pay more than $800,000 in restitution. That's right. Kwame Kilpatrick has signed a private deal with the feds. And of course, he owes the city of Detroit. Now, that's more than $155,000 he initially claimed he owed. Kilpatrick reached this agreement after he fought in federal court to reduce the repayment amount. The court denied his motion to reduce the repayment. Kilpatrick's pension benefits and other income are now subject to garnishment. He was sentenced to 28 years for wire fraud and tax evasion. However, Donald Trump commuted his sentence in 2021 after serving just 76 months in prison. Folks, the D.C. Office of Planning has awarded $250,000 in grants to two nonprofits. It's for the care and preservation of historically black cemeteries in Washington, D.C. The grants are part of a broader initiative to recognize and protect black history in the nation's capital. The Woodlawn Cemetery Perpetual Care Association and the Black Georgetown Foundation will each receive $125,000 to support research, maintenance, community education efforts. The funds will be used to remove hazardous trees, repair fencing, improve signage, and enhance the safety and accessibility of the cemeteries. These historic burial grounds are critical to African-American culture and history, and the grants are a significant step towards ensuring their preservation and care. All right, folks, our final story. Rapper T.I. has made a big-time donation to Morris Brown College. He's giving the school $50,000. T.I. said that what led him to give such a big way to Morris Brown is because of the work that they do.
Said that they wanted to give away free tablets to people who needed them. And that's exactly what we're doing. All right. Shortly after my live, good buddy of mine just so happens to be the president of Morris Brown. And he hit me and said, man, you know what, man? We need some of them tablets. Yes, sir. And of course, man, I said, man, no problem. Shit. So he pulled up on me today, and we have just agreed that on Monday we will be giving away 217. Yes, sir. 217 of these. If you are a student at Morris Brown, you'll be receiving one of these tablets for free. Yeah. You know, I was approached by these guys.
All right, folks, the donation is part of a broader funding effort that includes federal support, faith-based contributions, and others. Of course, when he referenced the president, he's referencing Kevin James. Of course, he was remember, removed as president, and then he was brought back by the board a week later. So certainly, congratulations, T.I. Congratulations, Morris Brown. All right, folks, that is it for us. Brittany Noble's going to be back in the seat tomorrow hosting the Breakdown with Brittany Noble. I appreciate y'all checking out today's show. Do me a favor. Be sure to support the work that we do, first and foremost, by joining our Bring the Funk fan club. That supports all of the shows on the Black Star Network. We're now up to 7 shows, including this show, which is new. This is on the second week, Ebony Hilton's show, Second Opinion with Dr. Ebony Jade Hilton, which, of course, we air every Thursday. And so if you want to support that work, please do so by using Cash App. Use the Stripe QR code. You see it right here. You can also use that QR code for credit cards as well. Checks in money order, make it payable to Roland Martin Unfiltered. The bank account is set up in that name. P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C., 20037-0196. PayPal's R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo's RM Unfiltered. Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com. Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Also, folks, support the work that we do by doing this here. Download the Black Star Network app, Apple phone, Android phone, Apple TV, Android TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Samsung Smart TV. If you want to get our Roland Martin Unfiltered and Black Star Network swag, go to shopblackstarnetwork.com. Go to shopblackstarnetwork.com. And of course, shopblackstarnetwork.com. We got all our Black-owned products. Support our Black-owned companies. A lot of great products are there. You're looking for gifts and things along those lines. Simply go to shopblackstarnetwork.com. And don't forget, download the app Fan Base. We'll be checking us out there soon once they get add the RTMP feature. So lots of going, folks. And don't forget, I'll see you at 6 p.m. Eastern right here on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Lots to break down. We'll cover more of the news of the day and talk about Donald Trump saying that Republicans should be taking over voting in 15 Democratic states. What the hell is that about? Oh, trust me, I will explain tonight on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Folks, that's it. We'll see you tomorrow right here on the Breakdown with Brittany. Holla!